Something that's been going on everywhere is this trailer, which you know, Taylor Swift and Travis, this crazy fanfare about their whole deal. What are your thoughts on that and this crazy relationship that's taken over the world? You know her well.
I'm excited for her. I mean, they seem like they're incredibly happy, and I mean, we're both friends with her, and I couldn't be, as long as she's happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
She's crushing it in every aspect of her life right now, and to be happy on that side of her life, nothing makes me more happy than that.
Right, you guys are crushing it too. Taylor and Taylor, were you Tay before, or did you have to decide on that?
I was Tay before, actually.
Helped.
Yeah, that did help.
Yeah, most of our friends just call us Girl Tay and Boy Tay.
Yeah, Girl Tay, Boy Tay.
Or Taylor and Tay. We're used to anything. We just kind of look at anything now.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody coughs and we're like,
Yeah.
So you're enjoying the newlywed honeymoon phase. Kids down the road, family, is that in the works, or you're not thinking about that yet?
At some point.
At some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure at some point.
We're having fun right now.
Yeah.
We're having fun, the two of us. So.
And I read that you can thank your sister for this, right? Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, she introduced the two of us.
She's here tonight. You
And
probably saw her.
She's here tonight, being a major part of helping out this evening. So, yep,
She's
major.
the one that called you and said, I have the one.
She said, I got your future wife, and I was, at the time, I was like, I'm sure you do. But glad I took her up on the offer, because here we are.
How was the first year of marriage so far?
It's a boring answer,
Yeah.
but smooth sailing so far. So fingers crossed it's not like a slow burn.
Yeah.
But
everyone was like, the first year marriage is pretty rough, and we just kind of keep waiting for it to get rough. So, fingers crossed.
Well, I read you sort of decided to celebrate with this event that you launched, this gala. Tell me about that. Why did you decide to celebrate this way?
We've been talking for a while. I mean, we've been like, what are we gonna do for our first year wedding anniversary? And I mean, we thought about everything, but then as we've gotten closer to the actual anniversary, we just thought about like what makes us the happiest. One, we love like event planning, party throwing, like we're just those people, whether it's a game night or a Halloween party, we just thrive doing stuff like that together. Two, we love community. We love our community, our friends, family, and bringing people together. And last but not least, mental health, something that we both, share a passion for. So we were like, it only feels right to do our first ever Lemons Gala in celebration of our first anniversary.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll go to dinner or celebrate in a week or so.
Once we get this
We'll
over
do something.
with. But it felt right.
Yeah.
That's great. The name, how did you come up with the name, the Lemons Foundation? Explain that.
Yeah, so it kind of spurred from, I worked as a COVID nurse and ended up leaving the hospital due to mental health issues, and I wanted to figure out a way to still give back and share what I was going through, because so many people during COVID were going through it. So I started a mental health blog, and I was trying to think of what to name it, and I was thinking of all these names, and I was like, lemons. I was like, life is like chucking lemons at me from all directions. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Let's go with that. So it was Lemons by Tay, and then from that came the foundation, and then from that came our podcast, The Squeeze.
That's perfect. Great. Well said. Tell me, you've been open about your mental health struggles, and you guys are using this platform in a powerful way, speaking out. Just explain to people, because when they hear it from you guys, people can relate. So what did you go through, just in a nutshell, not too much?
Oh, wow, in a nutshell. I mean, working as a new nurse in COVID was not the easiest. They don't really prepare you for global pandemics in school. There's no really proper way how to do that.
It wasn't in the textbook.
It was not in the textbook, no. But, I mean, it was just, a lot of, I don't even know how to condense it really, but it was a lot of night shifts that were not, were kind of just like a war zone is how a lot of nurses describe it, and that's how a lot of nurses show in brain scans. They show the same PTSD signs as war veterans, which is kind of crazy. So that's kind of like what I went through with that.
And you, growing up in Hollywood and the crazy kind of fame you found, I mean, that's not easy too, probably, to deal with some issues in your own life.
Yeah, I think the cool thing for us is we've had very different mental health journeys, but we found each other at the perfect pivotal time.
Yeah.
You know, her being thrown into a global pandemic, me taking a step back from the industry just to focus more on life, you know, things that are most important to me. It kind of, we were there for each other at the perfect time, and we host our podcast and we say we're newbies. Like we are not experts by any means. We are going through this ourselves. We, you know, are learning as we go, and that's the conversations that we are so excited to have. Is like we're figuring this out too, just like any of our listeners, viewers. So it's been a great journey for both of us.
That's great. What advice would you give to people that are maybe going to see this, that are struggling with something, that you can kind of offer them from everything you've heard through the podcast and stuff you've lived through yourselves?
I would say, and it sounds a tad cliche, but I do believe it, and I think it's very important, is just starting to talk about it and being able to be open and vulnerable and speak about it is the biggest step. It's the first step, but it's the biggest step. Like, for me, I spent so many years just like being like, you know, nothing's going on, like I'm fine, like put a Band-Aid on, push it down, sweep it under the rug. And as soon as you start to talk about whatever it is you're going through, it's so freeing. And you have people come out of wherever and you realize you're not alone. And as soon as you start talking about it, you start to learn a lot about yourself, and it's very freeing. So it's the first step, but it's by far the biggest step. Is just start talking about it. Like, you don't have to hide it. You're not alone.
That's well said. We're also celebrating your anniversary, the launch of your foundation, and Hollywood Back to Work.
Yes.
So how are your thoughts on that?
Hey, very excited. I mean, I know I've spent some time not being able to even think about that, so that's why we put so much of our time and effort into this and the podcast. So we're going to get through this and, you know, keep up with the podcast, but it is very exciting to...
Are you going to go back and do some stuff?
I think I'm ready. I know. I'm excited.
Anything on the table that you can tell us?
Well, there hasn't been too much going on the last, few months, but there's a few things that even in the last couple days have been, finally presented my way.
Nice.
So that's been exciting to see, and I'm excited to get back in.
Well said.